You swipe your card. It goes through. No warning, no alarm, just a soft beep and permission. That beep is everywhere in America right now. Grocery stores, gas stations, online carts at 2 a.m. Swipe, tap, click. And behind every one of those beeps is a number that is quietly getting out of control. America's credit card debt just crossed $1 trillion. That's not government debt, not corporate debt, not student loans. That's everyday people buying everyday things with money they don't have. And the strange part, most people carrying this debt don't feel reckless. They feel normal, because nothing about the system feels broken until suddenly it is. Right now, this matters more than it has in decades. Not because people are spending wildly, but because the rules quietly changed. Let's rewind. Credit cards weren't supposed to be survival tools. They were convenience tools. In the 80s and 90s, credit cards were for timing problems. You bought something today, you paid it off next month. End of story. Interest existed, but it was background noise. Annoying. Manageable. Fast forward to today, credit cards are no longer about convenience. They're about bridging gaps. The gap between paychecks and prices. The gap between wages and rent. The gap between what life costs and what work pays. Groceries go up. Insurance goes up. Utilities go up. Paychecks? They move slowly. So people swipe. Not because they're bad with money, but because the math stopped working. And this is where the system quietly turns hostile. Here's how credit card debt actually works, in simple terms. When you don't pay the full balance, the clock starts ticking. Interest isn't added once, it compounds. That means interest is charged on interest, and then on top of that, and then again. At today's rates, many cards charge 20 to 30% annually. That's not a typo. Imagine borrowing $100 from a friend and agreeing to pay back $130 every year until it's gone. Now imagine doing that for groceries. This is why balances don't shrink, even when people pay every month. The payment feels responsible. The balance feels permanent. And the irony? Credit card companies love customers who try their best. People who pay just enough to avoid penalties, enough to feel disciplined, not enough to escape. That's the sweet spot. Now zoom out. Why is this exploding now? Part of the answer is inflation. But that's only half the story. The other half is interest rates. For years, borrowing was cheap, almost invisible. Then the Federal Reserve stepped in to fight inflation. Rates went up, fast. Credit card interest rates followed immediately. Balances stayed, costs jumped. So suddenly the same debt became heavier, like gravity quietly increasing overnight. People didn't borrow more. The system just squeezed harder. And here's the uncomfortable math. At current rates, if you carry a balance and only make minimum payments, you could be paying for a single purchase for decades. Not years, decades. That coffee maker, that car repair, that emergency flight, they don't leave your life when the moment passes. They linger. Now let's talk about something no one likes to admit. Credit cards are replacing wages. Not officially, quietly. They smooth over the fact that many jobs no longer cover basic stability. So instead of wages rising, debt fills the gap. This keeps everything looking normal. Stores stay busy. GDP keeps growing. Consumption continues. But it's an illusion, because debt is future spending pulled into the present, and eventually the future arrives. This is where the risk grows. When more income goes toward interest, less goes toward everything else. Savings fall. Emergencies become disasters. Small shocks turn into defaults. Miss one payment, rates spike higher, fees stack, the trap tightens. And here's the quiet humor in all of this. Credit cards are marketed as freedom, rewards, points, cashback, tiny gifts handed back after charging you thousands in interest. It's like being paid in crumbs for baking the entire loaf. Now zoom out even further. What happens if this continues? On a personal level, stress rises, choices shrink, people delay homes, families, risks. On a system level, consumption eventually slows, defaults rise, banks tighten lending. Not all at once, gradually, then suddenly. This isn't a crash story, it's a pressure story, and pressure doesn't make noise until something cracks. The most unsettling part, there's no villain twirling a mustache here. Credit card companies are doing what they're designed to do. Consumers are doing what they need to survive. The economy is doing what it always does, papering over gaps with debt. Which leaves us with an uncomfortable question. If credit cards are now essential for normal life, what happens when people can't swipe anymore? Not because they don't want to, but because they can't. That's the real risk hiding inside America's credit card debt. Not the number, not the headlines, but the moment the beeping stops.
And when that moment comes, it won't arrive with a headline. No breaking news banner, no sudden announcement. Just small signs. A declined card at the checkout. A skipped purchase that used to be automatic. A quiet decision to wait, and wait, and wait. That's how credit contractions begin. Not with panic, with hesitation. The system we've built depends on motion. Swipe, spend, repeat. Credit cards aren't just a payment method anymore. They're a confidence system. They tell people you're okay for now, even when for now is doing all the work. And that's the part worth sitting with. Because if growth is being powered by borrowed time, then the real question isn't how big the debt gets. It's how long the illusion holds. America doesn't have a spending problem. It has a timing problem. We are spending tomorrow to survive today, and charging interest on the delay. So the next time you hear that credit card balances hit another record, don't picture luxury. Don't picture recklessness. Picture normal life, held together by plastic, and a system hoping the bill doesn't come due all at once. Because history shows it never does. It comes quietly, then suddenly. And when it does, the beep is the first thing to disappear.